Hey, call me Shape. We're live. Yep, surprise live stream, baby. We here. Okay. Let me just make sure we live on Instagram. I'm gonna hit the live button on Instagram. All right. Good. Live on Instagram. All right. Welcome, people. Yeah, I got a little treat for y'all today. Good treat. We're talking about who's to blame for the gender warfare. Well, the gender war, right? Men or women. Who's to blame for the gender war, men or women? Now, one of the things that inspired me to do this live stream today is I had a great live stream yesterday that was unfortunately stopped abruptly. And I felt like that was bad service on my part. So I'm making sure that we're going to make up for it today. Okay. And if this live stream goes well, it's a Monday. We might start doing live streams on Monday. All right. So if you're entering the live stream, make sure you like the video. If you're not a subscriber to the channel just yet, subscribe to the channel blowing up. I appreciate you guys. But we're discussing a really big, important topic. Okay. Topic is who's to blame for the gender war? Is it men or is it women? You know who is really to blame, right? Or do you? Or do you? You know who's really to blame, or do you? All right. So look, I got a couple clips here. We're going to go over some clips. We're going to watch the videos together. I'm going to have a call-in section where I put a link into the chat. You guys can call in. We have people call in, give their opinion about stuff. If you got a brand to promote, if you got a career to promote, I'm all about small businesses. If you just want to get your rocks off and say your piece, I'm for it. We're here. All right. Also, just make sure when you do call in, when I put that link in the chat, make sure that you are cammed up, mic'd up. You actually mute your live stream. I know a lot of people like to watch the live stream and then hop on the live stream. You know, you watch it on YouTube and then you hop on StreamYard. So to make sure everything's just copacetic and smooth, please just mute the live stream and just talk the talk on the StreamYard. All right. That sounds good. All right. So let me bring to the stage the video of the moment. So this video actually just came out. Shout out to eight at the table. 8 at the table dropped this video, and it asks a really important question. They asked actually, when did the gender war start? I asked, who's to blame, right? And it's kind of the same question, maybe a different question. I'm gonna play some of their video. We're gonna respond to it, and make sure that you guys hit that like button and tune in for an amazing show. Let's get right into it.
So we're talking about men and women gender wars. Who started it, or how did it start, and the solutions for it. So I'm gonna just alley-oop this to Erin and let her segue this off, because that's my good colleague.
I don't know how it started, but my assumption is that so don't come in the comments talking no bullshit. My assumption is that it came from the power dynamic between men and women after women started to gain equal rights. And I think that while women have been getting equal rights or striving for equal rights and opportunities, the resistance has generally, I would think, has come from men who are the ones who would have to pivot, change, and there's resistance. Changing again, something that's been, certain way forever. So I'm assuming that's what it is.
I got some shit for y'all, but go ahead. So I was about to say, do y'all know how all this stuff started to begin with? Like how women rights and women voting and all this stuff started? It really was just because the government couldn't tax half the population. So you got 50% of the population is women, and they all sitting at home taking care of the kids. If they go to work, then we can get money from the father and the mother.
But the women weren't initially in the workforce. So the tax
they were.
They weren't. Black women were in the workforce, but non-Black women were not. And what it was that when the men were off to war, you still needed somebody just to support the family. So that's what drove women into work. And then when the men came home, they was like, shit, I got a little money, I got a little freedom. I wanna keep doing it. And so what you're saying, and this ties into what you're saying, the government pushed that. They saw benefit. Exactly.
So, okay, I did some, it was about separating the household. If you get the man to work, woman to work, and then the kids go to the schools and schools get educated by people that they put in place with the system that they put in place. It was a whole lot to it.
Well, initially, the women's movement was really about the 19th Amendment, giving women the right to vote. Like let's not confuse that. Like, that was really how it started. And then you shifted to the need for equality, for education and schooling and everything else. But initially, it was about women wanting to vote because women wanted the right to own their own property, having a sense of their own self. Because prior, women and the children you had in that family were deemed the man's property. So if the man decided to divorce the woman, she would be left with nothing. Even if he inherited everything from her, not only can he take everything that was hers, he could take the children. She had no rights to that.
Okay, my opinion, that's not an opinion because it's a theory, because it's supplied by facts. First and foremost, and I love the fact that, like, in my household, we be having conversations about this. So, yeah, so because, like, my girl be talking about some stuff. I be like, yo, bro, you know what I mean? You don't make no sense. So let's do it. So we do the research together. And I tell you the backstory. It started off about men providing. So when we actually did some research and we Googled the first considerable women's movement, it was started by married women in the late 1800s. And it was basically about the
Women's Property Act,
about the ability to own, you know, whatever property that she was married into, right? Her name should be on whatever land, you know, house, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And that was the start of it. That was the very first time women decided to say, hey, listen, if we're married to you, we deserve to own some type of, or have some type of ownership for whatever we have been married into. And I know we've all, and I'm not going to play dumb here. I hope none of us are. We all know men who have bought houses, gotten divorced, left the house with the woman, or she won the house, and the kids. So now we done seen a whole 360 or 180 flip from the men retaining rights of the children in 1993.
No.
19, what was it?
In 1800.
1800?
Late 1800s.
So in 1800s, men have already lost ownership of the kids, automatically granted to the woman. Damn near. But then, so we lost that, or I don't want to say lost that. We gave that up. Now, then
But at what point were the men solely responsible for the children?
Okay, let me stop it here because a lot of this is hearsay. And it's okay that people, you know, when we have these discussions about why are we at the place we are, everyone's reaching for a different place in history. We're here, it's there, it's, you know, and they're sharing some stuff I didn't know about. Okay, so shout out to them. They're showing some information. I don't claim to have all the information. Okay, but they're missing a key thing. Because part of this gender war is not just women having the right to own property, not just women having the right to vote. I mean, people, you know, there's a lot of reasons why women couldn't do none of those things, okay? Because you got to think about this, right? Women, you know, because of their biology, didn't really leave the home until tampons were invented. People don't understand what life was like for women prior to tampons, right? If you go through the history, let's see. Let me stop. Hey, Siri, what year were tampons invented? 1929. We're just leaving it out. We can't even imagine life. Women can't even imagine life without tampons, but tampons have been around for less than 100 years. And this revolutionized a woman's life. Because prior to tampons, I mean, they had clothing and stuff like that, but, you know, it was a hygienic issue for women to leave the house. It wasn't like we were just keeping them in the house. No, man, you were bleeding out of your body unexpectedly every month. Let's just tell the truth. You know what I'm saying? And I bring this up because Jordan Peterson brought this up. And and a lot of times when we think about women and equality and this and that, you know, tampons give women a fair chance to be equal, because can you imagine what a woman's life would be right now without tampons, right? And I'm only saying that to say that how difficult life would be, right? So First bit of evidence we have is that women's lives dramatically changed after the invention of tampons in 1929. Unless Siri is lying to me, okay? Unless she searched the internet, and that's the AI kind of search right now. And Jordan Peterson pointed out this is a technological advancement on a lifestyle for women, because now they could enter, quote unquote, the workforce, right? But in a way that wasn't messy. Okay, it wasn't messy. Okay, but when we think about the gender war, we always think about man suppressing women. We don't understand that women are biologically suppressed. You know what I'm saying? We don't gotta suppress you, baby. You biologically suppressed. Okay, I'm not saying that men have never quote unquote suppressed women or oppressed women or whatever, but to blame everything on just greed from men and men not wanting women to own stuff, we forget how vulnerable women are. And this is why they weren't able to do a lot of things, is because it was actually an issue with them just traveling, moving around the world. And like I said, if we take away tampons, how weird would it be just to see a woman just start bleeding down her leg? I mean, that would be wild, right? But that's exactly what happens. If you take the tampons away, women just be bleeding down their leg randomly at some random time of the month. Surprise. You know what I'm saying? And that would be a concern. Just think about that, right? Anyway, we're getting deep into it. But the next clue after that, and I'm going to bring back the video up. The next clue after that is that women, right? They did enter the workforce after World War I, World War II. But what's supposed to be temporary for them to enter the workforce temporarily got prolonged by the feminism movement. So I'm going to get to that. I'm going to let them keep kicking their game. Good information so far. I'm glad you guys are tuned in. Whoever joined the live stream right now, make sure you like the video. If you're not subscribed, make sure you subscribe. Let's keep it rolling.
There's never been a time in history where the men were responsible for the children. Let's think logically about this. The reason why they typically have gone, I don't know about right now, but the reason why they typically have gone to the mother is simply because they were the ones who were giving the care to the child. And at no point in history has there been a time where the roles will revert.
So I don't think they use that, honestly, when it comes down to picking. That's another thing about the system. It's really statistically shown that with fathers, even if it's a single father and he take care of the kids, those kids come out better than the kids that's raised by strictly single mothers. It's better discipline, all those things. But my thing is this: we can just talk. Let's talk about this. You also want to ask the question of when were they the caregivers or the caretakers? Well, realistically, once they got divorced, that man, right? If we're going with the narrative, women weren't working at that point, right? Women were not allowed to work at that time. Okay, we're talking about the late 1800s now. We're far back now. We play a major role based on results. So, but my thing is this is where the war starts, right? The war starts when there wants to be a neglect or a downplay on the role of the man, especially when it comes to a child, right? So when we say, hey, listen, statistically, data or the history, data, whatever, the history of fathers being present in that child's life with or without the mother, the biological mother, the kid has that kid has a better probability in going further. This is what?
I just want to know what study.
Here's one study. And what we know is children thrive better in a two-parent household.
Okay, but we're not talking. We're talking about the war here. I think even now, no, we can attest to that now. Like even right now, think of what's going on now. All the kids with the guns, all the young boys, they all under 18. 9 times out of 10, they don't got their dad in their life. All the dudes that come on my show, the young rappers, I never had my dad. I don't know what my dad is. I never really worried about it. Y'all out here drilling. Y'all out here telling other kids to drill. They not guided. And I watch other mothers with their kids. Y'all don't know how to say no. You don't know how to sit that ass down. Like, there's a lot of things that y'all don't do that a man would do. So I feel like a lot of times that's the reason why they so off the leash now.
And we're kind of changing the subject, right? So they're going off into where do kids strive better on? The kids strive better in a single family, a single mother household versus a single father household, a dual parent household. let me just address this. And I seen this stat recently. I thought it was a pretty interesting stat. The stat says 93% of children that are homeless, 93% of children that are homeless are in single mother households. 93%. 93. That is a crazy 90. That means majority of kids who are homeless are children of single moms. And we already know that. So single motherhood, we usually think that single motherhood would just be breeding criminals, which that's as bad as that is. That ain't the only thing. It's breeding poverty, right? 93% of the kids are in poverty, right? Are in single mother households, right? And here's a reality. How can the vulnerable look after the vulnerable? Women are vulnerable by nature. Men don't have to suppress women to make them vulnerable. God made you vulnerable. God designed you where you needed a leader. You needed the headship of a man. It's not me, baby. It's in scripture, baby. You can read the Bible about it. This ain't me. This ain't me doing this. If we're going to talk about research and studying, you got to read one of the oldest books that ever existed, the Bible. It's covered all in that. Now, again, people say, oh, man, I'm not religious. I'm not religious. Well, neither am I. And I'm going to give you a quick definition of religion because people always keep talking about, oh, man, I see you have the cross, the crucifix on your hat. You're religious. You're religious. No, I'm not. Okay, this is symbolizing my God, right? But I'm going to offer you a definition of religion so you can understand what's really going on. Religion is for people who don't believe in God. So what do I mean by that? Well, religion is the idea, it's the philosophy that you are your own God. Therefore, you can determine what's right, what's wrong. You can determine your morality and your ethics. So you are religious if you don't believe in God and you decide that you are God and you determine right from wrong. That's what religion is. So I'm not religious because I believe in God and God determines what's right and wrong. Not man, not me, not someone else. God does. It's in the Bible. And the Bible is not a book about religion. It's a book about a kingdom, a king, and his people. Very different, okay? Now, we're getting a little off track. We don't want to go too down in that, but that's some importance. There's some importance to that, so we cover that a little bit. But I got some other clips. So let's get to the other clips. So shout out to A at the Table. You guys check out A at the Table. Great content they got there. I got some more clips talking about this gender warfare. Let's see what we come up with. Let's see what we come up with. All right. And you know I had to go to TikTok. You know, TikTok got all the good stuff about men and women battling and fighting and arguing. So let's play some of these clips.
Do you understand how stupid some of y'all sound arguing about who's the prize, man or woman? Do you understand how cringy y'all sound? How arrogant y'all sound? Y'all love to eat up this content about healing and equality and all this shit. And y'all go out and say some dumb shit like, I'm the prize. You are a human being. Men, women, all humans. No one is above anybody else. You are not above a man. A man is not above you. Prize. But I thought we weren't objects. Talking about, oh, I'm the prize, but we're not objects. Then stop talking about yourself like you're one. Because it's making no goddamn sense. You can say I'm worthy. Everybody's worthy. Everybody is worthy. Think of that. Everybody, right? See, I love to spread peace, light, love, and positivity, but then go out saying some narcissistic, arrogant ass shit like, I'm the prize. You're putting yourself above people. That's disgusting. And y'all love to sit up here on TikTok and talk about how to spot a narcissist. Look in the fucking mirror. If you're saying some shit like that, women are the prize, men are the prize, baby, you're having narcissistic tendencies. If you part of this stupid gender war, please check yourself. Because it's getting out of hand. It's giving grandiose sense of self. It's giving narcissism. It's giving, I think I'm better than everybody else.
Now, here's an interesting thing, right? If I asked you, is this a religious woman or not? What would you say? If I asked you, is this a religious woman or not? What would you say? You'd say, no, she's not religious. Look, she got tattoos. She got a furry hat. Right? You know, she got nose piercings. She got a septum ring. She's not religious. But I submit to you that this woman is very religious. You know why? Because she just went on a rant about what she believes is the standard for what men and women should be. You shouldn't tell yourself you're the prize. This person shouldn't tell themselves to the prize. You're not above nobody. You're not below nobody. You're just a person. You're just an object. This is what it means to play God. Right here. Right here. This is what it means to play God. Is my thumbs pointing to it? Okay. Okay. This is what it means to play God. When you determine what's right, what's wrong, what's this, what's that, she's making all this up as she goes along. God bless her. I understand she got her own opinion. She got her own view. But it's narcissistic for her to believe that whatever music comes out of her mouth is truth. Right? But she's making some points that let's address it. She's like, you know, men are not the prize. Women are not the prize. Nobody's the prize. Everybody's worthy. Everybody's worthy. This is this equality doctrine that people want to, they just want to spout on you. Everyone's equal, man. We're all equal. If that's the truth, then you should date anybody then. You should be married. You just marry anybody. If they're all equal, baby girl should marry anybody. Have kids with anybody. Sleep with anybody. Do anything. God did not make us all equal. And I know it hurts to hear. He did not. Okay? He didn't make us all equal. He didn't make us all equal. And then when we get into the prize conversation, when we talk about the prize, I'll offer this to you. Let me submit this to you. Boxers are prize fighters. What are they fighting for? They're fighting for the prize. What is the prize? It's a cash prize. Right? We call boxers prize fighters. What are they fighting for? They're fighting for a prize. It's a cash prize. So we have some evidence of what a prize is. A prize could be cash. Now, let me ask you this question. If a woman is the prize, shouldn't she be cash? Shouldn't she be financially benefiting us? Wouldn't that make sense? If a woman is the prize, shouldn't there be a financial incentive to be with a woman because she will bring money to you? But we know damn well women they date men that are wallets. They date men for money. So technically, a man is the prize because when a woman wants to date us, they want us to bring money to the table. Well, I just said before, a prize for a boxer is a prize fighter. He fights for the prize. What's the prize? The prize is a cash prize. Some boxers get paid a lot of money, millions of dollars per fight, millions of dollars per fight, just for punching and knocking out their opponent. Millions of dollars, right? Shout out to the top boxers. Now, let me say this. If a woman's not bringing you if she's not bringing you finances like a boxer does when he fights for knock somebody out, if she's bringing you bills, then she cannot be the prize. And if the man's paying the bills, then if anyone's the prize, it's the man. And the women should be the prize fighter, fighting for the prize, right? This is why I think women should compete for men. Okay. And I don't want to get too deep into this, but a lot of us not understanding basic words, prize, this and that, is why there's confusion in the gender market. Why is it confusing in the dating market to begin with? When you have women like this they're not tethered to anything, they're unhinged because they're not bound to anything other than their opinion and their thoughts and their ideas. This is why we are where we are. There is no structure. There is no order. This is a disorderly woman, right? I'm not trying to knock her, but I believe that she believes that everything she's saying is right. But to me, it's all ego. It has to be. It has to be. What else could it be? Let's get to some of the comments. My bad. I know a lot of people are commenting. Jack Daniels says, wait, last time I checked, men were responsible for the family. Yep. In God's house, right? God said that men are the leader. They're the Christ. They're the God of the household. So I'm agreeing with you there, Jack. Roni H says, I never heard of the prize talk until I heard a man mention it. The same type of who say you expire at 30 as a woman. Are you a woman, bro? Your name is Ronnie. Are you Ronnie the girl? Ronaldo? What's up, Ronnie? You a girl or something? You never heard of? I don't even know what to say to that. I never heard of prize. You're blaming men for bringing up the prize talk. Last time I checked, men, we never talked about dating as a prize. Like my wife is a prize. Like we talked about trophy wife, but I don't know about prize. I don't know what you're talking about. Gary Jr. says, women are the prize to men they don't want. That's it, bro. Well said. Well said. And I look at it like this. I brought this down before in my previous videos. If women are the prize, then men are the winner. Well, let me ask you this. How can a man win unless a woman is better than him? And we all know women don't want to date a man lesser than her, right? So chances are the man's the prize because women date up. They date horizontally and up. And men date horizontally and down. So we're the only ones only really settling. So therefore, we're date people superior that we're superior than, and women always date men above them. So they're always dating men that they're inferior to. So I don't see how women can be surprised with that analogy too. I agree with that, Gary Jr. Shout out to you, brother. John De Silva says the feminist women's movement, the feminist women's modern independent bro, guys, please, like, take your time to write these comments so I can read them. Please, let's get grammatically correct. The feminist women's modern independent and Me Too movements declared war against men. What's the result? Loads of lonely, frustrated, anxious, miserable, confused, sad, and actually starved women. Yes, absolutely. Because what ends up happening is, and they call this the high heel theory, right? The high heels theory. The theory that is that as women get taller, right? Because we all know women like men that are taller than them, right? So we've moved in a society where women are metaphorically getting taller every year, right? Meaning that the men that they could possibly date, the pool is shrinking because we know that men are not metaphorically getting taller every year. Men are staying the same size. Women getting taller financially, let's say metaphorically, because their financial improvements and or they're, let's say, they're improving their finances, their jobs are growing. This allows them to try to demand a man that makes more, earns more, because they elevated their social status. But what they don't realize is that women have earned more money, which excludes a lot more men, right? And they're limiting the amount of men they can potentially date. So they're effectively make themselves too tall for the male population and reduce the amount of men they could date. And so they call that the high heels theory. Now here's the thing, right? Now, so what happens now is women are becoming so financially successful that now they only want the top of the top men, the top 10% of men, and is giving the top 10% of men all the pick of the litter. Like essentially like 80% of the women, the top 10% of men now could attract. Right? And a large portion of men can no longer attract those women. And now they call the men at the very top, they call it Porsche polygamy, where if you have a Porsche, you can be polygamous, right? If you got the money, you got the bag as a man now. So what's happening now is women's dating pool is shrinking as they earn more money. And men at the very top, their dating pool is expanding so much. So where women feel like they're not enough men, and men who are at the very top feel like I have too much access to so many women, I don't know who to choose. So the men at the top can't choose anybody because they have access to all these women. And the women at the top feel like there's no men because there's not that many men at the top. And this is kind of the conflict that we have here. Ronnie ain't my real name. I figured it wasn't your real name, dog. You talking from a woman's standpoint, it can't be your real name. You know what I'm saying? The fact that you're a woman hiding behind the name Ronnie is so suspect. You gotta have a beard, yo. You gotta be one of those women that got a beard. You definitely gotta be an ugly bearded woman for sure, yo. Definitely, Ronnie's a bearded woman, 100%, 100%. Okay, that's if the comment you made earlier was really a comment, or maybe I didn't understand it. Gary Jr. says, $5 donation. Thank you, my brother. He says, shout out to you. I gotta run. Thank you, brother. I really, really appreciate it. He said, hi, I will put her in the rotation as Thursdays at 12 a.m. Okay. All right. Yeah. The bearded woman. Do that. Kilo Mike says, women created the red pill. You gotta expound on that. I don't know how, if they did create the red pill. I have no awareness of that. So if they did, I don't know anything about that. Maybe they did. I don't know. Well, if they definitely created, they forced men to create the red pill, I would say, or they forced men to embrace the truth, because a lot of men are trying to figure out what's going on in this world. I'm not having successful women. I can't date women. What's going on? All right, let's keep the clips rolling. I got a few more clips, and we're gonna let these people speak, and we're gonna respond to it. So let me see right here. Hold on. Let me see. Boom. All right.
So go outside, touch some grass, because I promise you, ain't nobody the prize. It's not that deep. It's never that serious until it is. Half people are complaining about things that don't even apply to you. Ain't nobody out there telling you you're not the prize. Whoever told you that? You ain't even got close enough to a human being for them to tell you that you're not worth it. Like, you want about Delulu? This shit's fucking Delulu. I'm the prize. Ain't nobody the fucking prize. We are all human beings. We're all worthy. We're all deserving of love. Blah, blah, blah. Toxic positivity shit. We really are. So stop putting yourself above other human beings just for the sake of your own ego. That's why half of y'all can't even find relationships because your ego is inflated. Oh, I'm picky. No, you're not picky. You're egotistical. And this is coming from somebody who has a big ass ego. Okay? But at least I don't say shit like that. I'm working on mine. Maybe you should check yourself before you out here in these comments like, well, women are the prize. Or men are the prize. No one's the fucking prize. You're just a human being. Maybe you're tall, maybe you're short, maybe you're fat, maybe you're skinny. Maybe you have mental disorders, maybe you're neurotypical. We all got shit. We all got issues. Ain't nobody the prize. No one's better than the other person. Okay? Women are not better than men. Men are not better than women. We're better at certain things than men.
You know what's so funny about this? Listening to her, she really believes everyone agrees with her. Like, I listen to this woman, I think she believes we all agree with the nonsense she just said. All the shit she just said, I'm sure as hell she believes we all agree with her. And we don't. We don't. Baby girl, this is your opinion. This is your opinion. I can't stress that because so many women get on Beyonce's internet and act like their shit don't stink and act like the opinions that they're yelling at the top of their lungs is the truth. That the louder they scream is the truth. Oh, it's obvious. And it's obvious. And it's like, baby, go read a book or something. All these women who tattoo their bodies, they got tattoo. I mean, it's you, baby girl, you're of the world. You're just like every other thought that thinks if I get a tattoo, if I get a nose ring, I'm so with the nature and I'm spiritual and I got like gems around my neck and I'm with Mother Nature. And bro, your whole swag is all done already. It's all played out. It's been done. Okay. Erykah Badu was a pop star 20 years ago, 30 years ago. You know what I'm saying? Like, I get it. You probably don't shave your underarms. I get it. You don't shower. I get it. You probably use certain stones for deodorant. I get it. You think you're so cool. I get it. You got a little furry hat and you put your makeup on. You think you're so slick and you got bat wings. I get it. But let me tell you something. Just because you're impressed with that doesn't mean we are. Just because you're impressed with that doesn't mean we are. But so many people, like I said, they get on the internet and their assumption is, oh, yeah, I'm so cool. Everyone thinks I'm so cool. Look at me. This whole game of being cool. Everyone thinks they're a celebrity. Everyone thinks they're an influencer. It's like, when does this get old? You know what I'm saying? When are you guys going to live for something other than your own ego? When are you going to live for something other than hedonism? A lot of these people put pleasure over purpose. I'm here to tell you, purpose is more important than pleasure. And so the gender warfare really started when women decided they're no longer going to follow men. They're no longer going to follow God. They're going to be their own gods. They're going to be their goddess. That word goddess, there's nothing more blasphemous than the word goddess. There is no such thing as a goddess. Okay? All the goddesses that are in the Bible were practicing witchcraft. Let me tell you about a goddess that was in the Bible, which people try to worship, blah, blah, who ultimately seen her demise. Let's talk about Jezebel. Everybody knows Jezebel. You ever heard that name before? Oh, you got the Jezebel spirit. You know, Jezebel's from the Bible, right? We're talking about biblical things now. This is from the Bible now, right? She's a Jezebel. You know what a Jezebel is, right? A Jezebel is this alpha-like woman who wants to take control of her man and thinks that her opinion and her shit don't stink, and she's gonna point her finger. You're gonna do what she say, and she's so smart, she's so clever, and she's gonna use her sexuality to seduce you and confuse you and trick you out of your riches, your life, your morality, everything you own. Now, if you look at the biblical Jezebel is a real person. She was married to Ahmad, the king Ahmad of Israel, one of the kings of Israel, who, by the way, was a very, very weak king. So weak that he got murdered in battle. Yeah, they killed him. Anyway, when they murked his ass, she was able to take over his kingdom for 10 years. And everybody hated her because she switched the religion. Everyone believed in God at the time. And she decided, oh, we're not going to believe in God anymore. We're going to worship the sun god of Baal. We're going to worship Baal. This is all in the Bible. We're going to worship Baal. Now, people were so sick and tired of her. God sent kings to take back the throne of Israel. When they caught this woman, they literally took this woman, threw her out of a window. This is in the Bible. They took Jezebel, Queen Jezebel. She was the queen of Israel at one point. Threw her out of a window to her death. Right? When she landed, and she didn't go splat, but she landed, right? And she died, right? From the fall. Her corpse was eaten by dogs. This is all in the Bible. They threw her out of a window to her death. And when she hit the ground, her body was eaten by dogs. This is all for divine God. Now, everyone felt so horrific by all this. They was like, oh my God, like, look what we did to the queen. You know what I'm saying? We threw her out the window, she died. Dogs are eating her body. So one of the men there was like, all right, let's go. She's still a queen, guys. I know she was crazy. She was trying to take over, whatever. Let's go give her a proper queen's burial. I mean, like, this is all bad, right? The dogs are eating her body, whatever. Bro, you know, when they went back to see her body, the only thing that was left was her skull, her hands, and her feet. Everything else was gone. The dogs ate everything else. Yeah. So the Bible talked about this type of female energy already. God does not want this. Okay? He does not want this. It's not in biblical order. It's not. Women are the vulnerable sex. They need to be protected by us. They need to be led by men. Okay? Women trust their heart. But what does it say about what do they say about the heart in the Bible? Jeremiah 17:9, it says the heart is deceitful above all things and desperately wicked. Who can know it? The heart is deceitful above all things and desperately wicked. Who can know it? But women follow their what? Their heart. Women follow their heart. What was Eve doing when she disobeyed God and followed the serpent? What was she doing? She was following her heart. What did the serpent tell her? Oh, if you eat from the tree of good and evil, you won't die. Surely you won't die. God, the reason why God's telling you that because he don't want you to become a god. And she believed the snake. She believed the snake. Okay? Women can be easily deceived. Be careful, men. They will deceive you. We got some comments in here. Let me read some of the comments. Ronnie, who says he's not a woman, I don't know who he is, says, why date someone who doesn't value you? I don't even think the majority of males value women. And I say this as a Christian. Bro, I don't know. What are you talking about? The majority of males? I'm not into, I don't know. I don't know what you're talking about, bro. Whatever. If you're going to do that, at least go for the top man you can get. I don't know, bro. Ronnie, if you want to comment, bro, you got to say your gender. I don't know what your gender is. I'm confused. Maybe you're gender confused. I don't know. H2O says, sometimes I wonder if modern women complaining about the men they're only attracted to, or they're complaining about the truck drivers to the 9 to 5 they're not attracted, or the truck drivers. So I think women are complaining about the fact that they can't get the men they want, and that's why one of the most common phrases of current times is, where are all the men? Where are all the men? I have such a great experience on dating apps. Why? It's because I was able to match with so many girls on dating apps. And I thought to myself, oh man, I'm hot shit, man. You know, I'm just hot shit. I was on Hinge, I had 500 matches. I'm like, oh, I'm hot shit. You know what I'm saying? And maybe I am, maybe I'm not. I don't know. But I'll tell you what, I know a lot of girls, that's not their experience. Their experience is that they're not matching with 500 men they find attractive. When I said I had 500 matches on Hinge, these are 500 girls I found attractive. Like, I hit X a lot on Hinge. Like, I'm not hitting hearts for everybody or whatever. I'm hitting X a lot on Hinge. So if I got to 500, that means I'm going to X like 2,000, 3,000. Okay? And you might ask, like, how'd you do so much? Well, you know, I did pay for Hinge at a period of time, which gives you unlimited likes. And what I used to do is I used to swipe on Hinge at night right before I go to bed, just as a bored thing. Not, you know, I don't know. I have the period before I go to bed where I'm in bed, but I'm not ready to sleep just yet. So I just do something on my phone until I'm kind of tired. And so I would do that on Hinge, but I had a lot of success and I met a lot of girls and I got into a couple of relationships. But I'm sharing this with you to say that this is not women's experience. Women think they're such a pride. They're so great, but they're not experiencing that. They're not experiencing that whatsoever. So I think they're complaining about men they don't get, not the men they do get. Gary Jr. says, I assume you're a Christian. Do you think those living perspectives hold weight these days? And if so, do you think these folks will return to outdated living perspectives from said holy books? My brother, see, the problem with a lot of you guys, since y'all don't read the Bible, y'all have, let me ask you a question about you before I even address the Bible. If someone knew very little about you, how can they give a clear perspective on you? How could you be an expert of an industry you know very little about? I find it very interesting to me that people are quick to critique a book they've never read. It's very fascinating. Ignore the Bible. Just tell me when you will ever follow a book review for someone that's never read the book. I'm just really curious. Listen, if you meet Christians that you don't like and you feel like they're hypocrites and they're this and they're that, I get it. But that has nothing to do with the Bible, baby. That ain't got nothing to do with the Bible. Read the Bible for yourself and then come to me and let's talk about the Bible. Don't talk to me about something you've never read, bro. Please. I think people should, if you're going to be intellectual in any field, you got to read the material. You're never going to get through any field as an expert not reading anything. So people avoid the Bible because they can say, oh, the Bible contradicts itself. I could just ignore it. But you can't point out the contradiction because you never read the book. You never read the book. You never read the book, bro. You never read the book. Until you read the book, you can never have a really, I'm talking about cover to cover. I'm not talking about you read a few pages. I'm talking about cover to cover. I don't want to hear that I went to church as a kid, I used to fall asleep. Yeah, because you're a kid. Because you don't understand. The kids do a lot of stuff. Kids and women are the same. They're disorderly, they're vulnerable, they don't know what's going on. They're heathens, right? So to tell me that you know, like that you have, oh, I knew you were a Christian, like, bro, honestly, I think it's really, really low for anybody to have a strong opinion about something they know nothing about. I don't suggest, but what I do is that I suspend judgment on things I know nothing about. I just do. And so let me ask you, so we jump to conclusions about you, and all we know is your little picture, right? You have a picture of it, what? A teddy bear? What the hell kind of, what's your profile? Teddy bear, and your name's Gary Jr. If I judge you based on that, how accurately can I judge you? Like, seriously, bro. Like, y'all guys got to really think about this. You know what I'm saying? Anyway, I thought you knew I was a lady. I'm the weaker sex or a bearded lady. Bro, how can I know you're a lady with the name Ronnie H? Isn't it? And this is what women do. Women try to deceive people. Bro, I've seen so lately, there's so many women in my comment sections, and I don't even respond. I just let other women attack. I don't even respond. I just let other women attack. I get it. Y'all, I'm unhappy with what I say about the Bible and God and Jesus, but this is a book that is a living text. The Bible's not outdated. The Bible's a living text. Everything you see happening in the world now has already occurred. You might not have known this, but it has already occurred. The Bible is a living text. And so you might disagree with it. I get it. You might hate it. I get it. But what you think don't make me take action. So what you think about the world, that's between you and you. Okay? That's between you and you. Gary Jr. says the Bible made you an atheist. The Bible made you an atheist, my brother. Satan did. Satan is your daddy. If you don't subscribe to God, then you subscribe to Satan. And that's fine. But then show me the book of Satan or the atheist book that you're talking about that you worship. Because as far as I'm concerned, atheism is a religion. Atheism is a religion. And there's a religion where you believe you're God. See, you reject God so you could be God. And that's why I say Satan is your daddy, because your daddy did the exact same thing. Lucifer did the exact same thing. I feel like Gary, I'm a referred. Yes, that's what I'm trying to say. This is why feminism exists, because feminism is a form of atheism. You guys believe you're your own God, and God bless you. You're allowed to believe whatever you want to believe. But let me tell you something, man. You know, Satan comes to steal, kill, and destroy. And you might think Satan, you know, and atheism and all that trying to serve you. It don't serve you. It don't serve you. Please let me know your books. Let me know all the information that you're guided by. Because as far as I'm concerned, you're guided by confusion. Okay, you're guided by confusion. Oh my God, Gary, look, didn't you donate, brother? Are you the one that donated? You donated. So you donated to me. You know what I'm saying? Listen, if you want to know if feminism aligns with atheism or aligns with Jesus, I got to let you know it aligns with atheism. So, if you're a guy and you don't like feminism and it's on the same side as atheism, they're all in the same thing. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not here to argue about what you believe. You could believe whatever you want. It's a free country. You believe whatever you want to believe, that there's no God, the Big Bang Theory, that there's, the big, and when people talk about this, it's so funny to me because anywhere you go in the world, if you found a structure like a building with windows and rooms and furniture, you would never say that this just randomly appeared here. That this just randomly occurred. But that's what y'all believe about the origin of life. Like, it just, all this stuff just randomly appeared. It's so funny to me. If you went down the street and you seen a brand new Ford Focus, you would never say to yourself, "Oh, this Ford just appeared here," like a meteor just hit the ground and boom, there's a Ford Focus. You would never believe that. But you guys believe that there's no God. Well, please explain to me, how does any of this stuff exist other than it was created? Please help me understand how all this just happened. How order came from complete disorder. Because that's what happens when you believe in atheism and there's no God and there's none of this stuff happens. What you're believing is, I'm gonna break down atheism and there's no God and blah blah and whatever you think that's going on. Atheism is believing that there was an explosion at the Ford Motor Company's factory, and when all the debris and the pieces came falling down, it turned into an F-150, brand new F-150, red leather seats. You know what I'm saying? A big flatbed in the back. It is all randomly came together and made a Ford truck. And to me, that would be more believable than the whole world doing that. The whole world just a result of one big explosion, everything falling down into some organization. Doesn't make sense. Good luck with that. Doesn't make sense to me. I like a lot of your perspective. I just didn't bring God. It dilutes it for you because you refuse to believe. My friend, it's so funny that people, and we got to talk about God, and I want to get back to I got more videos I want to talk to. The funny thing about all this is you guys attacking God, blah, blah. You're doing the devil's work, my friend. There's no three sides of this. There's no three sides of this. It's either you're on the side of God or the side of the devil. That's it. So if you feel like the devil is the route to follow, by all means, go follow it. You know what I'm saying? But if you think you just exist here from complete coincidence and that humans are if you know anything about the human body is so complex, the complexity just exists just out of randomness, then you're allowed to believe what you want to believe. Like I said, you believe there's an explosion at the Ford Motor Company's factory and all the debris fell down and turned into a truck. Or maybe an explosion at the Tesla dealership and all the Tesla factory and all the debris fell down and turned into a Cybertruck. You could believe that. I don't believe that, but you could believe that one big explosion turned into a Cybertruck. Believe that. But when I see a Cybertruck on the road, I know that someone created that with intention. I'm just saying. I knew that was created with intention. So you don't have to believe that. Okay. I'm gonna move forward because I don't want to argue this. He said trucks don't have DNA. I know trucks are not as complex as we are. We're more complex. We are more complex than a Cybertruck. And what I'm describing is it makes no sense that one explosion created that all order came from disorder. None of that even makes sense. That order comes from disorder. If that's the case, then we should hire disorderly managers to run a company to make it orderly. We should hire disorderly government to make things orderly. Makes no sense. It makes no sense. But hey, if you believe this all order came from disorder, then by all you means. But if you know who we are as humans, we're very organized. That's what an organism is. It's called organization. It's organized. It's an organ. Organization. Aha. This is a question to Bill. Where did God come from? I'm glad you asked that question. Because as far as you're concerned, based on our existence, you believe that God needs a mother. Because you have a mother and you have a father. And this is what happens with mankind. Mankind believes our existence is like everything else's existence. But here's the problem with that, right? When you die, you know what I'm saying? You cease to exist. But let me tell you something. The sun that's in the sky is going to keep shining. It's going to keep shining. The sun that we see in the sky right now has been here Since the first human took the very first breath, its very first breath, Adam and Eve took their very first breath, and the sun's going to keep shining. The same sun that Adam and Eve was looking at is the same sun that your great grandchildren is going to see the day they die. Very same sun. Very, very same sun. So I say that to say God just exists. And that might be too complex for you. You might say, oh, that makes no sense. I know it makes no sense to you because we're human. We have a limited capacity to understand things. We have a limit. You think that if you can't determine how God exists, if you don't have the capacity to figure out how God exists, he can't exist. But hey, I understand why you feel that way because you're playing God. Well, if you're God, why don't you save yourself and live forever? Because God is eternal. So why don't you save yourself and live forever if you're God? Because that's what God could do. God is eternal. God doesn't live in time and matter and space like we do. God is the greatest creator. He created us. And we're going to, like I said, I'm gonna get off the subject. I got more clips to play, but I like being challenged about God. I love when people challenge me about God because I think it's so obvious. And I believe the fear of God is the beginning of all wisdom. If you really want to be smart, if you really want to be intellectual, if you really believe in Scientology and the science, some of the most smartest men that ever walked this planet believe in God. Gary says, right, if we don't understand something, we then create beings to explain nature. Bro, whatever. Whatever, dog. We have ancient text. We have a Bible. We have ancient texts from thousands of years ago, right? And people witness what we would call God. But you know what? You don't have to believe it. That's absolutely fine. I don't mind it. You don't believe anything. You're the one that determines what's right and wrong. You play God yourself. I get it. The explanation doesn't satisfy you. I understand because you're God. Because God doesn't need an explanation. God doesn't have to explain itself to you. You want me to explain myself to you because in your mind, you're God. So we need to convince you. You need to be convinced. But let me tell you something. You're living in a planet that you don't understand yourself. You don't even understand yourself. You have organs in your body that you don't understand. Forget about understanding God. You don't understand yourself. You don't understand yourself. Forget about understanding God. You don't understand yourself. You don't understand yourself. Forget about understanding God. You don't understand yourself. At this point, let God correct these modern women. As men, we should vote with our feet and debate none of them. Let the dead bury the dead. Respect. Appreciate you, my brother. Jack Daniels with $5 donation. Appreciate you. And like I said, I don't mind being challenged by God because a lot of people are so ignorant of God and they believe, and what they don't understand, what's so arrogant to believe that someone needs to explain themselves to you. When you and I both know that you will die. And you are mortal. So therefore, you can't be God because you're not immortal. When we describe God, we're describing a supreme being that does not die and doesn't live in the context that we live. So if you judge everything by your context, you're just as dumb as everyone else that does that. If an animal judged everything that exists in the world by their context, by their experience, how much would they know about the world? They'd know very little. They know very little. You will look at a dog and you say that dog cannot build a Cybertruck. You know how the limited capacity that a dog has. Well, God knows the limited capacity that man has. They know it's limited capacity. Anyway, let's get back to the clips. I don't mind talking about God. I love talking about God. I sell hats referring to my belief in God. But let's get back to the clips. I got some more clips. All right. We have this next lady here. Let's bring her up. Let's react to what she has to say about the gender warfare.
I'm gonna keep my team brief when it comes to this, but this is a part of a conversation that I feel like we're not getting anywhere with. The conversation about safety when it comes to men and their emotions. Absolutely, we all should be able to provide a space that is emotionally safe and secure for both of our partners. But we cannot continue to point the finger at us, especially for men. We cannot continue to point the finger at your woman if she has tried. Sometimes the reason why you do not have the safety is because you will not allow the safety. There are so many instances where we have seen men who have tried to remain with this stoic demeanor, who have a fear of vulnerability, who perceive that if they express emotions, they perceive that they're going to be seen as weak. And so because of that, they won't express their emotions, they won't share their thoughts, they won't express their concerns, but yet they scream and they cry and they constantly tell the woman that they need the safety. How can she grant you safety if you will not allow yourself to move forward to actually speak to her about what it is that you're going through? We cannot continue to put responsibility on one person in a relationship. eventually you all are going to have to understand that the lack of communication, the poor communication that you have, is what's causing a lot of the problems in your relationship. I'll tell you one thing: whenever you are expressing how it is that you feel, it should not be followed with a character attack. Sometimes, because we're big on I feel statements, but sometimes I feel statements can be you statements in disguise. When you say, I feel like you just don't give a dang about me. I feel like you just don't care. I feel like you don't love me. That stuff like that is still accusing a person. That right there is still putting words in a person's mouth. On top of that, if you lead with an I feel statement, or if you lead with a statement and you immediately start attacking a person's character, or you're being patronizing or condescending, now this person has to defend themselves. So how can they receive you when now they have to defend themselves? And a lot of people will do that, so they will defend themselves, so it'll take away from what the bigger issue actually is. You speaking to a person is just as important as them listening, and you have to speak in a way to where they can understand you and they can fully receive you. Because yes, you do have to acknowledge that certain things that you say may trigger a person, and you have to understand that the way that you say certain things sometimes can disrupt the person's emotions, can disrupt their nervous system, and now they have to figure that out, and it's harder for them to receive you.
So she's pretty much coaching women, and I found this kind of interesting. She's coaching women to not lead with their feelings, which to me is great advice. Because feelings are not a great, they're not great, what's the word? Oh my God, I just had the word. Oh my God. God. They're not great indications of what action you should take, right? That, feelings, you can be deceived by your feelings. Emotional intelligence is an important thing because your body, feelings comes from our survival mechanism. We feel things. It's really just a response to our environment, and they could be triggered, they could be stimulated, and they're not adequate. There you go. I was looking for the word. They're not adequate guides to action. Just because you feel something doesn't mean you should do something. We're seeing this in the world right now. There's a kid who just got bailed out of jail for stabbing another kid to death, right? The kid Carmelo Anthony. And he felt like his life was at risk and he needed to stab somebody. And I bet he's going to rethink that a lot, because now he's facing a considerable amount of time in jail. And his life, I don't want to say it's over, but it's effectively in a downward spiral. Okay. And it's all because he felt a certain way. And this is why, if you lead by your feelings, and this is why I bring up God, because we're very, as humans, we're so limited that if we rely on our own devices, we're going to self-destruct. And women have self-destruct by relying on their own device. This is why we're in the trouble now, right? Because if everything's if there's no objectivity, right? Because if there's no God, there's no objectivity. There's nothing objective, right? Everything's subjective. It's your opinion, my opinion. If there's no objectivity, then life is an ever-changing, ever-evolving thing that we can never understand, because it all depends on who's thinking, right? Your truth is your truth, and this truth, and that truth, and that truth, and this truth, that, and we never come to any consensus, so we can never grow, because we will never have a foundation. You can't have a foundation on subjectivity, right? When you build a house, you're not building a house on a guess, right? You're building a house on an estimation, a plan, right? Specific information that you derive, right? Understandings of the environment, understanding of technology, understanding of the materials. You're not just, it's not a big guess game. Well, I feel like we should build a house with bricks, and I feel like we should build a house with wood, and I feel like we should build a house with clay, and I feel like we should build a house with galvanized. I feel like I'm feeling. We need evidence, okay? We need something that we all could agree on. And feelings are futile. They're ever changing. They're coming and going, right? Who has ever relied on someone that's always deep in their feelings to be organized and structured? We call people who rely on their feelings bipolar. When has anyone loved to work for a bipolar person, or love working with a bipolar person, or dating a bipolar person? You know what I'm saying? We feelings are such bad guides to action. It's not even funny. This is why I am rooted in the word. The word gives me a specific purpose. And when people say, oh, evolving and changing, you think the world's changing, you think the world's evolving, but humans are still the same. The organs that you have are the same type of organs your kids are going to have. It's the same organs your ancestors are going to have. The environment you live in, as far as air, land, and water, is going to be virtually the same. All right? Your necessities for food and water, it's going to still be there. You see, even though we have technology, even though we have tools, it doesn't mean that our God-given tools or whoever you feel like gave you your tools, your body, your hands, your feet, that's not going to change. I know scientists say, oh, one day we're going to lose our pinky and stuff like that, and the evolutionists and all these people. You got to be careful with that, because anybody who believes in this Darwinism theory of evolution, what you don't understand by them is that if you are just a monkey without a soul, right? If you think you're an animal, you're a soulless animal, right? Well, let me tell you something. We put animals in cages. We put animals in farms and concentration camps. We steal their kids away, chop them up, and sell them for food. If you believe we're just soulless animals, let me tell you what we do with soulless animals, right? We do factory farming of them. And slavery, we believe, if you have a soul, is unjust. It's unjust. So this is why, like, if you want to go down the route the atheism also like that, if you're just here, if there is no God, then there's no reason not to rob, steal, and pillage from you. Because you're just a monkey, you're just an animal. And in the wild, might is right. If an animal steals another animal's baby in the wild, they don't go to court and say, hey, why'd you steal this? Might is right in the wild. If you could take it, it's yours. But we believe in humans, thou shalt not steal, thou shalt not kill, thou shalt not do all these things, right? You don't believe someone should steal, right? You should believe that your possessions belong to you, and that we have a whole structure, an organization, a community built on this understanding. That's what I'm trying to say. You guys live in an environment that's been built off of Christian values. That's why we have the police system. That's why we have the justice system. That's why we have organization. It's not just based off of feels. Is what we believe are God-given rights that no man can intervene without punishment. If you're just a soulless monkey, none of this matters. Go rob, go steal, don't earn nothing, don't be good, don't help nobody. That's why feelings are unreliable. Ronnie says you only do that if you dehumanize people. But why humanize people if they're soulless monkeys? See, I'm gonna tell you why I believe that, because I don't believe you're soulless monkeys. I believe you're a child of God. Now, what do you believe? And whatever you believe, again, you made that up. So you're playing God. So you mad at me because I have a God that I can't change, when you're playing a God that you can change. To me, that's more arrogant of you, not arrogant of me. Right? So he said, we may not believe we have souls, but we are still human. What does that mean, though? Where do you get this idea? Where's this wherever that philosophy that you got that we are human? Who came up with that? Please tell me the origin idea where we are all human. What in the world does that mean? What does that mean? Because as far as I'm concerned, when we talk about humans, we're talking about God's children. That's what we're talking about. That was created on the 6th day, right? On the 6th day, God created humans on the 6th day. And he told us that we're supposed to be fruitful, multiply, replenish the earth, subdue it, and have dominion. If none of that is true, then you could throw us in cages because we're just soulless monkeys. And this is what people understand, that if they get you to believe that there is no God, then they can enslave you. That's what people understand. If you follow Satan, Satan came to rob, steal, and kill and destroy. He didn't come to make you God. He came to trick you into believing that you're God, and that you can determine what's right and determine what's wrong. And this is why we have feminism. We have disorderliness right now. We don't even take that much disorder to have chaos in the world. We have just a little bit of disorder, and it's not even a little bit, just a little bit of disorder, and it's chaos in the world. So again, if whatever your idea, please tell me the book that you got your idea from, that we're all human, therefore it means this. Because as far as I'm concerned, you're not providing no information that suggests that because we're human and you're not supposed to who said you're not supposed to dehumanize humans? Is that the atheist? Is there an atheist Bible that said that? Oh, I believe we have morals. Well, gee, where'd you get that idea from? Where does your morality come from, atheists? I believe you have morals. You can be raised with morals. They probably got it from God. Okay, they probably got it from God. So we call people like you guys cherry pick the Bible when it's convenient, when it has to do with enslaving you because you're just a soulless monkey. So when I say that, okay, but you're gonna put no, don't enslave me. I'm not. No, we're human. We got our morals. Oh, but your morals are old, right? Aren't they? No, morals are outdated. No, they're outdated. You said they're outdated. They're from the first century and before the first century. Aren't they outdated? Morals. Where'd you get the morals from? They probably got morals from God since they were religious. But if I had the same compass where I believe in God or not. Oh my God. Morals come from so why do you believe? Okay, so if you don't believe the humans that help write the Bible, tell me the humans that you worship and you believe that you got your morals from, and why do you live your life by the morals of humans you've never met and you probably can't name? And I challenge you to name the morals. I challenge you to name where your morals came from. What human? Name the humans. My morals came from my parents. Is that weird? I'm not the atheist here. I literally said I was looking for Jesus. Okay, so I'm not blaming you. I'm more talking. I'm just okay. Ronnie, the woman, the bearded lady, whatever you are. Okay, I'm just saying this to say that it is humble of me to believe in God, not arrogant. It is arrogant for someone not to believe in God, and I'll tell you why. Because you're taking the role of a God. When I talk about God, we're talking about morality. We're talking about ethics, right? Right from wrong. This is a basic thing. We all have to agree on what's right or wrong, right? If we have to live in this world, we have to agree what I can do and cannot do. We agree that, right? That if you have a family, I can just go and break into your family's home, take all your food, right? Beat the piss out of you and leave. That there should be a punishment for that, right? Where did that come from? Morals are thrown out the window when the truck stops running. Water ain't running, electricity ain't on. Okay, so let me say, so when COVID happened, should people have been allowed to purge you and your family, rob your family, grape your kids? Because like you said, the water stops. So when that happens, is that allowed in your moral code? That's allowed, is what you're saying? Because I don't believe so. So I guess your moral code says if there's if there's a world emergency, so we don't have morals anymore. You throw your morals out the window when there's a world emergency. That don't make sense. Okay, so then I understand that you believe that. I don't believe that, but you believe that. You're allowed to believe that. Anyway, let me get to more of these clips. This video took an interesting turn. That's fine with me because people do like to challenge the Bible, and they're allowed to. You're allowed to, but I'm just saying that if you challenge it, it's because you believe you're God. And I think that's very arrogant of you. I'm just saying, I think it's humble for me to submit to the Lord. That's just me. Or maybe you think I'm arrogant and you're humble, right? But I'm the one submitting to God, and you want everyone to submit to you. So I don't know how that's humble. You know what I'm saying? But anyway, let's get back to more of these clips. Let's see what this guy has to say.
There is no gender war. It's just women complaining online and men responding to it. There is no gender war. I didn't set my phone up and say, I would like to see a group of men and a group of women both go to their respective islands and see who lives better. I didn't do that. I responded to a woman who did that while she was implying that the women would just thrive and the men would turn into like bumbling idiots. None of this. Go look at my content. It's all reaction based. This is a reaction channel. I've said it so many times. When stupid people say stupid things, I'll respond. It's content. People love it. People love reaction channels. Reaction channels are a thing everywhere, on every platform. There is no gender war. There's a bunch of unruly, complaint-ridden women who just get online, set their phone up, and say crazy shit. And then there's guys who be like, yo, y'all for real? Just go back, click this, watch the video. I was like, yo, is she serious? There's no way. It's just commentary, bro. I'm just a yapper. I've said it so many times. There is no gender war. There is no gender war.
So, okay, very interesting take from him. There is no gender war. It's women just getting online, yapping. Gender war, maybe it is kind of a tongue-in-cheek term. Maybe, there is we're not really at battle, right? There's no battlefield with men and women. But what we're saying is gender war as far as, and what I consider a spiritual war. We have spiritual warfare. We're having spiritual warfare in these comments right now, right? right? Because we can't even agree on morality. And then when we pry into that conversation, the question is, where does your morality come from? Someone says other humans. Well, I'm trying to say, why do you value those humans so much that you get your morality from them? I take morality from God because I believe he created me. So he's allowed to tell me what's right and wrong. So I'm asking you, why do you let another human being you've never met before tell you what's right and wrong? Like, just please help me understand. And who is the human that you got your morals from? And if you don't, and then where did they get their morals from? Did they get their morals from someone else? Did they get their morals from God? Do you want to live in a society that doesn't have the morality of God? Do you really want to live in a society like that? I'm just curious, because we consider those barbaric societies. America's built off of Christian values. You guys, if you love this country, you got to understand it's built off of Christian values. Our money says, in God we trust. It didn't say in some human that came up with morals we trust. In some human, that whatever the human that came up with morals, we trust him. But why? Why? The reason why I can't accept the morals from another human, because he's human just like I am. I'm flesh, you're flesh. We're both flesh. Unless you believe there's some human superior than others, then again, you're going down this route of there's masters and there's slaves, and the superior humans enslave the inferior humans. And some people believe that. But I don't believe there's some superior humans and there's inferior humans, and the superior should be the masters of the inferior. And this is where everything is very, this is where things get so complicated that it makes no sense. That's why I tell people all the time, the truth is simple. A lie is complex. The lie is complex. What you're saying is so that's what I'm trying to say. The explosion that happened at the Tesla factory, and all the debris came down together and made a Cybertruck, that makes no sense to me. It's confusing. I think it's very simple to say that we were created by someone that's creative, and that's why we're creative. I think that very simple truth. The explosion that made all this order from this order makes no sense. In fact, to me, an explosion is orderly. Even if something explodes, it's orderly. Let me tell you something. Can this explode? This is a silk. Can this explode? Can this blow up? Can I bring this on an airplane and say, I got a bomb. Here you go. Can I do that? Can this explode? No. Why can't this not explode? Please, someone help me understand, why can't this explode? Because explosion is a property of material. Explosion is a property of material. Explosions just don't happen. Before an explosion happens, a material needs the property of explosion. You just can't have explosion because you want an explosion. It has to exist as a property of that material. Let me ask you a question. Where did that material get the explosive property from? Please explain. Is this a bomb? And if it's not, how come it's not? How come this can't explode? I mean, and when people talk this way, it makes no sense. The world is so orderly. Wood is wood, soil is soil, bones are bones, blood are blood, water is water. Everything's not just the same. Everything has individual properties. And my question to you, who gave all these things their properties? Who gave these things their properties? Let me go to this. Doxy says, in God we trust. Amen. Amen. Amen, brother. Amen. Amen. In God we do trust. You know. If you guys want to look, I realize y'all want to have a conversation about our origin, and I don't mind that, because I do think if we understand our origins, we can understand where we're going. I believe that. So I'm going to put a link in the chat if you guys want to jump in, have a discussion. If you're brave enough to say the things you're saying on camera, because I'm confident saying what I'm saying. I'm not embarrassed. I'll say this in front of a crowd. I'll say this in front of one person. I'll say this to myself at night. Right? There's no embarrassment. There's no shame in it. So I'm gonna put the link in the chat. If you guys are brave enough and y'all want to talk that talk and have the conversation, let's see how well your conversation goes. Because I'm just gonna ask you about the questions. I'm not even gonna tell you about my God. You could go discover my God. I want to understand your God. Who is your God? Who is the person that determines right or wrong for you? Okay? Because as far as I'm concerned, all I got to do is pry a little bit, and I realize that your argument's very weak and not well thought out. It's very simple. I know just a little bit of prying, I'm going to know that your argument is very weak, not well thought out. Okay? Dennis Dominic says there's certainly gender differences since the beginning of time. Books like Think Like a Man, Men Are From Mars have exploited those differences for years. Social media and hasn't helped. Yeah, it hasn't. And I think what's really sad about all this is that people, so one of the things I want to cover in this is that atheists are part of why we're here right now. Atheists is why we're here right now, because God could have never created feminism. So don't blame my God. God is very vehemently against feminism. It's not, feminist doesn't align with the biblical structure of things. Okay. So if we had to blame feminism and the cast that we have now, it's not based off of the teachings from the Bible. So it could only be from the teachings from men. And if it's not from God, it has to be from Satan. There is one or the other. It can't be. There is no purgatory when it comes to this. If it's not from God, it's from Satan. Very simple. So I'm saying that to say that this idea that women could be just like men and do whatever men do, that did not come from God. God did not say that. Gary Jr. says, when's your next live head to work? My next live is probably gonna be Easter Sunday, 420, at 6 p.m. So go ahead. You guys see, and look at them. Look at the atheists are running. Oh, we're gonna go to work. That's what these people, they could run behind chat screens and talk all this crap, but they're scared to get on screen because you know what's going to happen. And Gary, I appreciate your donation, but realistically, my brother, really think carefully if you want to join this, because it's going to expose the holes in your argument. So, and I have no problem doing that, but just be prepared that, you know, if you thought this out, a lot of atheists haven't really thought this out. That's why they're atheists, because they're not thinking. Ronnie said, before I go, social media has just made it so much bigger, and both sides are super paranoid, which is why I agree with you that it's spiritual warfare. It's very much spiritual warfare, my friend. It's very much spiritual warfare. God made Satan, but he didn't make Satan do what Satan did. Satan's an angel. Satan is eternal, because all angels are eternal. If you know about the Bible, you could read about Satan. Lucifer, I mean, very specific what Satan is and what Satan does. And the funny part about Satan only can persuade. He can't force you to do anything. Satan is the voice in your head that's telling you to do something effed up. All Satan could do is trick you out of your blessings from God. He can't force you. He could just turn you against God yourself by getting into your mind. If you ever had a devilish thought, just know you hear Satan in your mind. If you ever had a good thought, you have God in your mind. Very simple. Okay. And even though you can't see these things, you can't grab them. They're intangible, but they're very real. Because I know everyone has had an evil thought before. Dennis Smith says, follow the money. Who benefits when men and women don't get along? The atheists do. I don't think society benefits. I think the atheists do. Bro, you know, I really don't like that you talking about things you don't know. Gary talking about God saying hoodwink God. There's no hoodwink, bro. There's none of that. And this is what I'm trying to tell people. It doesn't make sense to speak about a subject that you don't know. You only expose that you're the fool, not the subject. You're not proving that the subject's foolish. You're proving that you're foolish. I mean, that's if you're going to argue a subject, just know the subject you're arguing. Like, I'm a personal trainer, so I could argue with other personal trainers about training and stuff like that. Because I've been doing it for the last 5 years. I got a certification in it. I've trained over hundreds of people. I've got results. So when I have a discussion on it, I'm the subject matter expert. But when people talk about personal training to me and they've never trained before, I look at them and I just laugh every single time, because all I got to say is, you don't know what the fuck you're talking about. And let me tell you something. There's a lot of things I don't know what I'm talking about. Therefore, I don't talk about it. Or if I do talk about them, they're more from a curiosity. I'm trying to learn them. But people run around with strong beliefs about things they've never really investigated. That's all I'm saying, bro. If you do whatever you want, but at least investigate. So when we talk about these things and we ask these questions, you could at least know what we're referring to. I don't mind arguing with another personal trainer about personal training, because at least we understand the premise. But you guys argue from a place of ignorance and y'all think y'all smart. And it's so funny to me. It's the same thing kids do. It's the same thing a 13, 14, 15-year-old boy is going to do. He's going to pretend like he knows the world. He knows very little about the world, but he swears he knows the world. And I know that kids do this because I did that when I was 13, 14, 15. But when I see adults still do that, I feel sad for them. You're no longer in a place of your life where you need to guess how things are. You can just go examine, go study, go read it. We have smartphones, but dumb people. We have smartphones, but dumb people. Go search. Just do your research. and do it extensively. Do it extensively. God bless me with the ability to be a great student, have intellectual. I could go study things deeply. Anyway, let's get back to the whole thing. But but I do think that even though I'm going on a tangent about all this, I do think that ultimately the reason why we are here is because we're in spiritual warfare. God did not ordain that men and women not get along. I don't know any man that wants a woman that's uncooperative and doesn't submit to him. I don't know one. And let me tell you something. God wants your woman to submit to you. Satan doesn't want your woman to submit to you. Satan doesn't want you to lead as a man. Satan wants the woman to lead as a man. I'm just saying. Satan wants women to lead. Satan wants, the trans community, this community, that community to take over. That's what he wants. God doesn't want this. So, I don't know if you guys understand these things, but, it's really important to understand the origin of these things. Then as the man says, phones are only as smart as the people who own them. So the reason why I don't agree with them, well, okay, no, you're absolutely right. No, absolutely right. Yeah, they're only, it's a tool that only can be used as wisely as a person that understands the tool. Yeah, it's not the wand, it's the wizard. I agree with that. Yeah, if you're not smart, you're never gonna get the best out of a smartphone. The phone's always going to be smarter than you. I seen someone recently say that AI is here to stay, right? So they said that if you don't use AI is not going to replace you, right? People think, oh my God, AI is going to replace all these jobs. No, AI is not going to replace you. The people who use AI is going to replace you. You know what I'm saying? So I use ChatGPT every single day for my YouTube channel, every day. I'm thoroughly impressed how well ChatGPT works. Very, very well. And I know people are learning in school not to use ChatGPT, not to do this, not to do that. It's cheating. But let me tell you something about school. And school's so funny, and it's kind of relating to a lot of this. School teaches you things that do not apply. School prepares you for an environment that doesn't exist. It just doesn't exist. In what world is it called cheating when you cooperate with other people? In what world? In what world is it cheating when you cooperate with other people? So why is it if you're in school in a classroom where you're supposed to be learning, is it considered cheating when you cooperate? But then you get in the world, you grow up, you graduate from high school, and you realize that the people who have the most cooperation are the most successful. And the people who are by themselves, like they're an island, are not successful. It makes no sense. In fact, school should be teaching us how to cooperate with each other. School should teach us how to date each other, how to love each other, how to work together. But school has taught you to work by yourself. Don't look at anyone else's paper. Don't look. If I catch you looking at someone else's paper, I'm going to fail you. But we know we have to grow up in a world where we got to work with the public. We got to work with women. We got to work with jobs. We got to work. We got to cooperate all through life. And school teaches you how not to cooperate. Why? Why? Well, that's a good question. I know why, because it's slavery, my friend. It's slavery. Heads up Ken says, when women don't get what they want, they turn into little girls. Yeah. When everyone doesn't get what they want, they turn into little, bro. Everybody. Little T. And God talks about this too. And that's why I only bring it up, because people don't have any organization in their life and they need something to lean on. Let me tell you something. Women are made vulnerable just like children. That's why women and children have a bond that men will never have the bond that women and children have. Never. Will never. The bond that a mother has with a child is so unique. And women think this is weakness. It's so sad to me that women believe they're superpower to be able to literally conceive a child within their body. Like you know what I'm saying? In their body. What kind of superpower? They think it's low of them. Oh my God. Because they realize, and we all realize this too, that, in order for a woman to get pregnant, she just needs to be smashed and needs to be, in her reproductive window, right? But it doesn't mean that's how we're supposed to do it. We're supposed to really do it within a marriage. We're really supposed to be doing it within a covenant, right? And a marriage is supposed to be a covenant where if anyone breaks the covenant, the wages of breaking that covenant is death, but we don't live that way anymore. I mean, we don't have the death do us apart. People say vows, they don't actually take them seriously. So that's kind of an issue there. But women being able to conceive a child and then their body produces food for that child, you don't get anything more spiritual than that. And I say to say that women are the best designed for children because they think very much like children, because they're both very vulnerable and they need the protection of men. So it's a very symbiotic relationship that men will never understand because we're not the vulnerable sex. We're the sex that has to protect everyone else. And this is why I challenge you that even though y'all believe the world's changing so much, I challenge you to predict the day that women are going to be the main bodyguards of the world. That every celebrity, every important person you know, they're running with a bodyguards full of women who can protect them. I would love to see that day. Please, I would love to see that day. Well, I'm skipping comments. Hold on, my bad. Dennis the man says sci-fi warned us that these machines will make us dependent and then take over. That's happening right now. See, they're not so. You know, I want to talk about terrorists a little bit. Let's talk about terrorists because I know it plays into this idea of machines and stuff like that. Machines have improved our lives. Because of machines, we're no longer farmers. People don't understand that how many people lost their job when the tractor, right? The tractor that, you know, the farm tractor, when that was invented, how many people no longer had to really, you know what I'm saying, till the land. Like you no longer had to do it because we had tractors that could plow the land itself. But prior to tractors, humans used to plow the land. And people thought that was a great injustice. But let me think about this, right? Instead of plowing the land, now we could take our time and resources, our human power to do other things. And that's what we did. We did other things. Every time new technology is invented, we go from one age to a new age, right? We went from let's say this, the agrarian age, right, to the industrial age, from the industrial age to the distribution age, from the distribution age to the technology age, from the technology age. People don't even realize, and the funny thing about the agrarian age and the industrial age is that the education, the school, general education from the industrial age, but our schools are still based on a period of time that's gone, right? The industrial age ended in the 1950s, almost 100 years ago, but our education is still based off the industrial age. It's fascinating, right? And so we know, like, so when you talk about the ages, we're talking about how wealth existed in the agrarian age. Back in the agrarian age, probably the longest age that we've seen so far. But in agrarian age, you were rich if you own land. If you own farmland, you're rich because you were able to, you know, grow a harvest, sell that harvest, make money. After that, in the industrial age and brought in a time where if you own machineries, you had all the wealth because you own the factories and the equipment that are able to produce the stuff that you could sell, right? And then the distribution age followed the industrial age, distribution age, where if you own the logistics and the logistics systems and the trucks and all these different things to take the things that the industrial age built and distribute it throughout the world, you had the wealth. If you're able to, you know, and we still have the versions of the distributed age and with ships and trucks and all this is still part of different technological eras that pass in the world, right? Different ages in the world. So I say this to say, when we think about terrorists, and I bring up terrorists, right? Trump's terror. Everyone's like crazy about Trump's terror. Oh my God, Trump's terror. Trump is trying to achieve something I don't think anyone really wants. I think it's noble that he wants to bring back jobs to America, but the jobs he wants to bring back to America are similar to like saying, okay, let's get rid of the tractors, the farmer tractors, and let's bring back of plows and let's plow the field with these hoes, right? And it's like, it makes no sense. Why go back to working the land with our hands when we have tractors? So you guys don't want to. Advancement is good. Technological advancement. When we create more creative tools, it's similar to saying that, hey, let's get rid of our guns and let's all just use sticks and bows and arrows. It wouldn't make any sense. Why? When we have guns, why go back to bows and arrows? I mean, who's going to fight a war with slingshots, bows and arrows? It makes no sense, right? So I'm saying that to say that, and I brought that up because people are so scared of technology. There's nothing to fear. Technology is going to make it so where our lives are better. Like, people understand this. I'm going to say it like this really quickly. Our lives, the comfort of our lives that we have right now is equivalent. Like, if this was like 400 years ago, our lives are equivalent to someone that had like 80 servants, 80 helpers. All the things that we could do with technology is equivalent to having that many assistants and helpers. Like for a king to live like how regular people live now, they would have needed like 80 helpers. That's how much technology helps us. It allows us to essentially have 80 peasants, 80 slaves. Technology could be our slave. And there's nothing spiritually wrong with enslaving the equipment, slaving technology. If we have a factory and the factory is running 24/7, there's nothing immoral about that. But if you work a human 24/7 and you don't feed them, you don't clothe them, you don't provide for them, that is immoral. But there's nothing immoral about working the hell of our equipment. Our technology works for us day in and day out. No sleep, and it doesn't want food. Some of it needs to be charged. But other than that, it's a good thing, because if they're not doing the work, that someone else has to do it. Agent, what's up, brother? Agent Crypto, bro. You said something. You said, I'm trying to understand your comment on my other live stream. You said your comment was, I need to work on my. You said I need to work on my laughing side. I was like, I want to actually, like, what the hell does that mean? Work on my laughing side? I didn't get that. But shout out to you, bro. I didn't know what you meant by that. Hezo says they use good for evil, like knowing what's right and still doing the wrong. Yeah, that's what I'm trying to say. And it's all that's in scripture. Everything that people are doing now, it's all in scripture. And so when people if you look at the Bible, what you should look and see how prophetic it is. How much it predicted all the chaos that could happen in the world, and how a lot of this chaos already existed. Because humans are humans. And even though our equipment's evolving, we're still the same. We still need food, water, sleep, shelter. We still need all the things that we need now, your ancestors needed, and your great grandchildren would need. So that's out of it. Agent Crypto says that's how Henry Ford made his backwards. Yeah, Henry Ford had the assembly line. Henry Ford invented something that made him very rich. The idea, the assembly line, that was a technology in itself, where one person would do one job, another person would do another job, and they'll work on a line that continued. And what happened before that whole assembly line is, like, if I was going to build something, I built the entire thing myself. So let's say I built this structure here, right? This is like an ashtray. And if I would have built this, I, as a one human, I would have made the clay. I would have carved the clay. I would have carved this out. I would have heated it up myself. I would have painted it myself. That's a lot of work, right? And it was very inefficient, because it was like, who could build the most amount of these in a day, right? And I might have been limited to building 2 of them. But if you gave me one job to do, where I'm the one that just molded the clay, I could mold this clay and then give me another clay. I'll mold that clay, and that was the assembly line. One person molded clay, one person painted the clay. When Henry Ford did that, obviously with cars, one person, worked on tires, one person worked on rims, and that was able to literally super advance how fast we could produce things. Because prior to that, people thought that things should be built on an individual basis, where one person wouldn't cooperate, no cooperation, and work by themselves, and to build a thing. Then we realized that if we cooperate to build things together, we could actually work a lot faster. And if you give people specialties where some person just did one thing, if you had specialization, that we get things done a lot faster. And if you think about it, your body is built over specializations. Your eyes does what the eyes do, so the hands can do what the hands do, so the neck can do what the neck do, so the feet can do what the feet do. And they all work together, but they all have a specific job. And if one thing could do, if your eyes just were used for vision, and your ears were just used for hearing, and your mouth was just used for speaking and eating, it'd be a lot more effective than if your mouth had to do everything. If your mouth had to hear, see, talk, shit, you know what I'm saying? It makes no sense. It's separated, and God made it that way. So God, to me, was the original, the assembly line, if you think about it, because everything in our body has a specific job, and it just has to do its job. Your kidneys just have to do what the kidneys do. The liver just have to do what the liver do. The bones just have to do what the bones do. The mouth just have to do what the mouth do, and so on and so on. Agent Criticism, yes, bro. I'm still in real estate. I gotta. If anybody needs any help with real estate in New Jersey, if you need to buy property, sell property, or just need some advice, hit me up on Instagram. I can refer you to my team. We can get your real estate transactions done. I got a great team of people I still work with. Yes, I am a licensed real estate agent in New Jersey. And I was gonna put a link in my in my YouTube channel for people to hit me up for it. So thank you for reminding me. It's something I probably got to do at some point. Dennis mentions watch the movie Ex Machina. LOL says a lot about technology. It probably does. I would say just be careful. Just be careful because it's propaganda. One of my favorite books. Hold on, let me grab it because a lot of people just talk, but I read books and I support what I say with books. So if you want to understand the world, I tell people all the time, you gotta read. Movies are good, but here's a book I strongly recommend. I don't know if you guys can see that. It's by Edward Bernays. It's called Crystallizing Public Opinion. Edward Bernays was responsible for a lot of things that we say now that we don't even realize he said. And he quoted that in his book. He quoted that in his book that a lot of people. So Edward Bernays, he is one of the greatest, I guess you could say, thought leaders of his time. He really existed in the 1900s. This book is from the early 1900s, like 1910s. This book's 100 plus years old, the original text, right? But he came up with phrases like breakfast is the most important meal of the day. What else he came up with? Because he came up with that phrase to help companies sell more bacon. Anyway, the whole premise of the book talks about how the human psyche works and how people have been sold to for their entire lives, and they're unaware of who's selling to them. They're unaware that they have ideas that were originated by somebody else that they've never met before or even heard of before. And he was responsible for being the father of PR, public relations, right? Edward Bernays. And I bring this up because I think a lot of people, you will never understand the world if you don't read the text of the world. If you don't read the greatest text of time, right? The most sought after books of time. Because one thing about very smart people, they write books. So if you read them, it's almost like you're being coached by them. So Edward Bernays, he was a nephew of Sigmund Freud. And the things he says about the American public is so true to this day. And by the way, I have a link in this book I recommend this in my Amazon affiliate link. You can get this book. It's one of my recommended books. And it's very funny because he talks about how you change public opinion. And this is feminism literally took a page out of his book. Very, very good book. You can learn a lot about society in that way. I'm going to put the link in the chat. You guys can join if you want to have the discussion. Anybody who's new to the chat, if you like the video, if you like this live stream, hit me up in the live stream. If you like the live stream, hit the like button. If you're new to the channel, hit the subscribe button. I appreciate you guys. I'm doing this out of labor of love. I want to provide the best content in 2025 to my audience. And I'm really challenging you guys to think because I'm a thinker. So I let anybody, we can always have the discussion about intelligence. I'm a big fan of intelligence. Do I have anything else here? I never heard of that. Transcendence is the most trippiest AI sci-fi movie. Yeah. A lot of this stuff is trippy. For real. Anyway, link is in the description. Anybody want to call in? I think we got 20 people in the chat. You guys are more than free to call in. Let's have a discussion together. I don't need to be the only one up here talking, yapping my mouth. I can if y'all want me to just yap, But I want to hear what you guys have to say. All right, let me take this guy off the screen. Hold on one second. Let me see. Okay, so let me, do I have another video for you guys? See, I got one more video for you guys. We can play this video. And we bounced around a lot. Oh my God, we bounced around a lot. I'll let you guys let me bounce around a lot. I could go on these tangents because I'm such a nerd and I study things so deeply. Like I literally read books so much that, I'm fascinated by the world. I'm just intellectually curious. So a lot of these things that people just like have opinions about, I go searching. And that's why I have kind of more of a specific opinion about it. Because I love to read. Adrian Clinton said, you still rock with Jack? I miss you. Yeah, Jack called me today. Me and Jack are best friends. I talk to Jack like several times a week. It's one of my best friends. So yeah, I don't know if his live stream is coming back. I don't know if it's going to come back anytime soon. I don't think he has any plans about bringing it back anytime soon. And you got to take it up with him. Just write in his comments. Go to his comments and ask him, or hit him up on Instagram and ask him. You might not get to him because the dude gets like 400 DMs a day, so he might not be able to get to you. But I'll let him know that you said something about it. He said hat is lit, by the way. Thank you, brother. I got the hat for sale. I'm selling this hat $27. The link in my on my channel. You guys get the hat. I ship them out pretty fast too. And so yeah, I love them. Great hat, great value. And a lot of people compliment it. The great thing about this hat, when I wear it, so I never thought about. So the funny story about this hat, I bought this hat for my own, like, you know, like I wanted a hat like this, so I went and got a hat like this, and I did it for my own sense of fashion. But when I would go out in public, everyone complimented me, so I'm like, all right, I'll start selling them, you know. And now I'm working on making better hats. Like I have like a few other hat. It's crazy because of the whole thing in China now, and a lot of these hats and things are made in China. You know, the price of a lot of these things are going to go up, but I'm still working on making some doper crucifix hats, you know. So thank you, brother. I appreciate it. I got a couple ideas. I'm definitely coming out with another hat, but for now I got these hats for sale, and I got them in like a bunch of different colors. I got them in green. Obviously I got the black and red. Damn. The one that I want to sell that I haven't really sold a lot of, I got one I didn't, you know, let me see if I can get a hold of it. I have a white one. I have a white and black one that I haven't sold. And so I sell all these I keep them prepackaged, you know, and then I put these in a poly mailer and I send it to you. But I got the white ones that I want to sell. I don't even have one for myself right now for the white. I'm just selling them right now, but I definitely want to rock the white one. But yeah, I got those hats for sale. All right, so I got the link in the description. You guys can call in. If not, I'm gonna add another video for us to react to, and then we'll talk about it. So this guy's next up. Let's listen to what he had to say about the gender war. Let's get into it.
Yes, the truth is a lot of people have not seen how a healthy relationship works. And it's funny to me because so many people have like 5-star expectations with a Dollar Tree budget, and they don't understand why nothing's working out for them. One of the biggest signs of you being ready for a healthy relationship is not only putting high expectations on the person you love, but putting high expectations on yourself. Like, ladies, y'all want a man that'll never stop dating you, but what have you done lately that makes him want to date you? Monday morning to Friday morning, your attitude been messed up. He trying to talk it out, but you either give him the silent treatment or you responding in 2 and 3 words. And you think after dealing with that for the past 5 business days, this man want to kick it with you one-on-one? And fellas, y'all don't get off the hook either, because you want a woman with the mouth and the cheeks available at all times. But when was the last time you washed? You ain't even trying to look good for that woman. Stop wearing them bum-ass distressed jeans and Jordans every day. Dress up with her and groom. All right, get this shaped up. Cut it off, do whatever. Get a retwist, get a taper fade. Look like something for her. Come in looking bad and smelling bad and expect her to arch her back. Come on, bro. And those are just shallow things. Those are things that take common sense to fix. It don't even take no real work to fix those, but people struggle in these areas every single day. That's the problem with this whole gender war thing. Both sides are right. Has anybody ever considered that? Both sides got a ton of stuff to work on, but don't nobody want to do no work. All they want to do is make the man. If you're ready to be in a relationship, you're also ready to be wrong. You're also ready to change. You're also ready to do better just because it's the right thing to do, not just because it's incentivized. Most of y'all can't communicate and don't want to learn how to communicate. All you want to do is talk reckless and get your way. The ladies can turn their position into prostitution and they ain't doing nothing unless it involves money or gifts. The men, they're leaning into an Oedipus complex, and that's a whole nother video. Both sides are garbage. Let's start there. That's the starting point.
He's spitting a little bit, but and he said both people are wrong. I mean, you know, it's clearly he's trying to appeal to, like, when you listen to comments, like, I mean, I don't mind sharing videos like this, I don't mind reacting to them, but when you listen to them, you get to kind of see who they're trying to appease, right? And clearly he wants to appease both groups. And to me, if something's for everybody, it's for nothing. It's for nobody, right? If something's for everybody, it's for nobody. My channel is a men's channel. This channel is a channel for men, by men, for men. Now, women are more allowed to come, and they do. I mean, we didn't invite them, okay? I didn't invite them here. I didn't go looking for them. But they found their way here, and there's some great women. A lot of the women that do follow me are married women, a good percentage of them. But then we do have some women that literally follow my channel just to hate. And I know they be fighting with you guys in the comments. I see it. I don't respond to it. I'll let you guys respond to it. But a lot of these women be fighting with y'all in the comments. But I'm saying that, I say that because I pick a side. I picked a side. And I'm not saying that I side with men and that everything men do is right. But I'm not making my content to appease everybody, right? So I can't say that both sides are right, both sides are wrong. I think women want certain things that I can understand, and men want certain things that I can understand. The difference is, though, is that men have no problem becoming the successful, wealthy guys that women want. It'll be a man's dream to be essentially what a woman wants, to be tall. Most men would love to be 6 foot. I mean, there's people getting knee BLs and stuff like they get knee surgeries to be taller. A lot of men will go to hell and high water to become what a woman desires. But how many women will go to hell and high water to become what a man desires? Women are working so hard to become something that nobody wants. Literally, they go to school, they get an advanced education, right? To get a job, to earn more money, just so she could tell men she don't need them. Now, who in the world wants that as a man? Nobody. But if you see men like me and other men, there's a lot of men that are working their butts off to become productive citizens who are fit, healthy, got money, got resources, and can be of value to their women. It's not an uncommon thing. But how many women are working hard to be the woman a man wants? Like, very few women are working hard to be trad wives. Like, almost nobody. How many women are working hard so they make sure that they know how to submit to a man? Like, no woman is, bro, virtually no woman is working on that. Like, no woman is working on being the type of wife that could submit to a husband. Like, nobody, bro. Like, literally nobody. So, and not that I don't think that men have things they need to work on and women that have things they can work on. What I think is that the things that men need to work on, we're happily working on. Men are happily working on making more money. They're happily working on becoming more fit. They're happily working on learning how to lead. But very few women, if any, are happily working on how to be a good wife, happily working on how to be fit, happily working on how to be feminine. And a lot of these things you can't work on. If you don't got it, you don't got it. That's just the case. You know what I'm saying? There ain't nothing you can do about it. Ain't nothing I can do about it. Ain't nothing you can do about it. You know what I'm saying? It's just, if you don't got it, you don't got it. If your mama wasn't a wife, it's going to be hard for you to become a wife. If your mama wasn't feminine, it's going to be hard for you to be feminine. If your mama wasn't toxic, it's going to be hard for you not to be toxic. A lot of these women are growing up in toxic environments where women are very masculine. And the only thing that women didn't have was enough money to take care of them. So these women grow up with this idea that I need to be the woman that gets the money, but I'm also going to retain the toxicity of my mother, the singleness of my mother, and the lack of the ability to cooperate with a man. And so that's what we're seeing now. That women are working hard to become something we don't want, while men have always worked hard to become something that women want. That lies the problem. This man says you should tell people you play for a team called the NJ Christians. Yeah, sure. Why not? I guess right? Whatever. I mean, look. I mean, I guess by definition, I'm Christian because I believe in Jesus Christ. I believe He was a Messiah. I receive Him as the first coming of God. But ultimately, I believe in God, right? And I just believe that Jesus is God. God is God. It's all God. God is a triune being. He has 3 personalities, Father, Son, the Holy Spirit. So technically, I guess that would make me a Christian. But I'm not religious because I believe in God. I believe religious all religions believe that what religions do is decide that they can become a God. An individual can become a God and tell other individuals or themselves what's right or what's wrong. That's what a religion is. A religion is not believing in God. No. A religion is when you don't believe in God. And I think people mix that up. So, not that I don't like telling people I'm Christian, but I don't view myself as Christian. I view myself as a servant of God. That's my identity. So I don't go around saying I'm a Christian. I'll say I'm a servant of God. I serve God. Right? Even James, who was the brother of Jesus and a son of Mary and Joseph, who were the parents of Jesus, when he went to identify himself, he didn't say, "Look at me, I'm the brother of God." He didn't say I'm the brother of God. You know, Jesus was my brother. When people asked him who he was, what is his identity, he said, I'm a servant of God. So that's how I look at myself. Anyway, I think this was a good chat. I hope you guys enjoyed this. This was fun. I know it's kind of spur of the moment, but I wanted to kind of get in here and have some fun. You know, sometimes instead of making a video, I put together some clips and I'm like, you know what? I'm going to just hop on live. We're going to make the video together. So I hope you guys enjoyed this. This is quite fun for me. If you like me to keep making videos on Sunday, I will. I mean, Sundays and Mondays, I will. I will be live this Sunday coming up, Sunday at 6 p.m. That's going to be like the live date that going forward. And I want to see if I can add a second day, like Mondays at a certain time. So if you feel like you like these Mondays live streams, and no one called in. Everybody wanted to just watch. I guess y'all just want me to talk. Y'all want to keep your mouth shut and just talk in the chat. That's cool with me. I put the link there just in case you guys want to call in. But I realize that people are subscribed to me because they want to listen and they don't want to talk. And I'm A-okay with that. So I appreciate you guys for wanting to hear what I have to say. It's very fulfilling. You know, it's funny because someone literally approached me at the gym recently and recognized me from YouTube, which is wild. So I could officially say I am famous. I know some people don't like that, but it's true. I'm famous. People are recognizing me in public, which by definition means you're famous. And I might be a Z-list celebrity, but a celebrity nonetheless, right? Anyway, like the live, subscribe to the channel. I appreciate you guys. Check out my live stream I got coming up on Sunday, the 20th at 6 p.m. and all the Sundays following until further notice. This has been a great